Just got this, Jesse. Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, sued, you're talking about the lawsuit, sued Combs in November of 23, allegations about sex trafficking. She's now put out a statement through her lawyer reacting to this, what we're watching happening live. We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct. I'm just thinking about Jeffrey Epstein. Didn't that start with civil suits?
So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because in this lawsuit that I had just mentioned, there was a comparison to Jeffrey Epstein. There was one of the individuals that has been associated with Jeffrey Epstein, they said is almost like the madam. They almost said she was like the Ghislaine Maxwell. And I remembered that comparison stood out to me at the time. So hearing that from Miss Ventura, which, by the way, she settled her lawsuit with P. Diddy one day after it was filed. Now, having said that, I recall that the statements that were released after that were not saying this was a vindication and that P. Diddy is completely innocent, but that they, resolved their issues amicably. But she never gave up her contention that she was sexually assaulted by Mr. Combs.
So I'm just looking again at the pictures here outside his house. You mentioned why you believe the SWAT team is there, because he's known to have weapons. And it's DHS, Homeland Security. Do we know why they would be the ones investigating? I mean, I know they oftentimes do like child porn and those kinds of things.
If you're talking about sex trafficking, if you're talking about underage women, that is a concern. That is something that comes to my mind. You're also talking, I mean, we could see it here, a massive property. Massive. It is bigger than I've seen.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing here really is a possibility they don't know what they're entering into. And they don't know if there are secret compartments. They don't know who's in the house. And so obviously when you're attempting to go into a property like this, you would see that kind of massive effort.
It's amazing. One lawsuit opened up Pandora's box to now Diddy getting raided based off of the idea of sex trafficking. Now, I've never been a fan of Diddy. I didn't even like him on G Dep's song, Special Delivery, because he was screaming all over it, right? But the one thing that I never believed in, and I think that it's easy for people to continue to pile on, and so this justifies, for people to automatically assume guilt, and that I just don't leverage the idea that I don't like somebody to automatically assume that they're guilty, because any woman can accuse you of something that you didn't do in order to be able to get a bag. And I think that the majority of these people that are suing Diddy, honestly, right? Like, I think that they hungry for money. And so I don't put a lot of stock in this. They comparing it to Jeffrey Epstein and all of this stuff. Look, man, Jeffrey Epstein was alleged to have been into some real underage type stuff. From everything that I've seen so far, Diddy is just an over freak and he nasty and all of that stuff. But come on, man. Come on, bro. Seriously? Like, I criticized his whole idea of what he thought about Black Power was when he was on InvestFest. But let's put it all together. I mean, the downfall of Diddy is just epic at this point because, the Diageo with the whole Ciroc fight that he had going on, and then the lawsuit with Cassie as far as her going to get a bag, and he never even should have, in hindsight, right, everything can be looked at in hindsight, he never should have even allowed for that to even come to the forefront of if you want to go all the way back, then he should have never just been, extra freak and having his business out there in the first place. But this is another thing that we talk about with regard to dick discipline, because there's certain people that don't even put themselves in this position. A bunch of power does not automatically absolve you from being held accountable, regardless of whether you're guilty or not. You're guilty by association and accusation. Let me see some more of this.
You would see multiple law enforcement agencies going in. And so that's probably, they have the resources to be able to penetrate and go into a property like that.
And they're also going into his house right now in Miami. At the same time, we've confirmed the search in LA, the search in Miami, but it's the Southern District of New York investigating.
Correct.
That's a massive effing property. Diddy was getting bags.
And we don't know what they're investigating. We don't know exactly who they're looking into. I mean, obviously, the speculation at this point is that it is concerned with P. Diddy, a part of an active investigation. We don't know what the charges are or what they're associated. But right now, when you're entering these properties, it is, by all accounts, to arrest and to issue arrest warrants. And clearly, they had some probable cause to believe that there is a criminal activity afoot there and that they are trying to either arrest some of the individuals there or try to get some evidence out of there, whatever that might be. And remember, as I said, I should mention this as well. It's actually, I'm remembering it as we're talking about it. One of the aspects of that lawsuit was that P. Diddy had surveillance footage in his property.
Wait, look real quick. What is this, Jesse? Because these are new pictures.
So if that
are
is,
these there's
that
people
could
in
be his
handcuffs
sons.
now.
That could be his sons.
Yeah,
that could be his sons again.
Yeah, those look to be the sons. They was chilling at the crib, obviously, and now they in handcuffs. Nobody say anything. Look, if they saying that, oh, he had all of this footage in his possession, man, if you don't think that I would have already, if I'm Diddy and that was true, and it was evidence that could be used against me, man, you don't think that junk would have been burned to the ground after all of this time, man? Anything that would have been tied to me would have been burned to the ground, shredded, and thrown into an incinerator.
If that is
that looked like the Justin Combs dude and the one that looked like him.
Accurate, I wouldn't be surprised because the allegations put forward in that lawsuit implicated his sons in different criminal activities.
So these are aerial photos from our helicopter in Los Angeles. It's zoomed in now. This is brand new. And there are, let's see, can we count? It's small. A couple of people in handcuffs, a couple of people on the ground. Looks like two boys in handcuffs there facing the bushes.
And let's be clear, they could be detained while the search warrant is going forward, while the house is being searched. It doesn't necessarily mean they are arrested, but they are currently being detained outside while this is happening.
Do we know anything about the whereabouts of P. Diddy?
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
I saw reports online that suggest they might be looking for him. I don't want to confirm that. I don't know where he is, but clearly, if he was at one of those properties, we may have seen him by now. Now, having said that, we're kind of developing into this story.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that he had already been perhaps detained and he's put in one of those vehicles or was transported somewhere else? That is a possibility. Or it's possible they don't know where he is. And again, we can't 100% confirm what they're looking for, but clearly being at those properties, placing what appears to be his sons in handcuffs is an alarming situation.
Yeah, I don't know if we can go back to the picture of the people in handcuffs. And there were reports earlier that his sons were in handcuffs. So this seems to match up with that.
But again, they could be detained while the search warrant is being investigated.
And the other thing, this is a federal investigation, Department of Homeland Security. We know, I mean, it's very difficult for us to get real-time information from the feds. It's not like working with the sheriff's office. I mean, they are so tight-lipped. But the thing I keep thinking, it's the afternoon in LA. I mean, the chopper's up, like, they clearly aren't trying to do this in secret.
And you know, one of the things as I'm looking about this, and one of the reasons they keep it very close to the chest is because they don't want to alert the suspects that they're looking into. And clearly, they must have had some sort of intelligence to let them know that these people were at the residence at that time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
You got the feds on your back. That's not a good look. So, obviously, Diddy is completely done. At the very least, as an entertainer, we know that he just recently dropped an album on, what did he call it, Love Records. Diddy up out of there, he out the door. So whatever royalties and residuals that he's going to get, or whatever money that he got put up or whatever, he's just going to have to live off of that for the rest of his life. It's pretty much over as an entertainer from Diddy. So yeah, man, this is pretty crazy. This is pretty insane. I'm sure we'll cover it on A Millionaire More in the show as we get more facts and details. Right now, it's just breaking. And so you seeing this based off of a raid. We don't know if he's been arrested. We don't know if he's being charged with anything. We don't know if they just looking for something based off of surveillance or intelligence. And I would encourage people not to jump to conclusions with regard to this and just pay attention to the facts, not just the accusations, because anybody can file a lawsuit, but very few people can actually prove that you did anything to them. And just because you settled does not mean that that's an admission of guilt. I think that he should have played this a little bit differently, but then he should have never put himself in this position in the first place. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Make sure y'all tune into the Q Show tonight. It should be entertaining. I'm out.